Hey, this is Sam, aka White Wolf. I'm back dusting off the old podcast, and I gotta take out these headphones because I can't hear my own voice because it's freaking me out. Anyway, so I've decided to dust off the old podcast, and I thought, what better way to bring it back than with a discussion about what might be the most bizarre movies I've ever seen, which is Tommy. And to put this in perspective for you on what bizarre means to me, I spent the last semester watching a bunch of foreign films made in the 1960s, so my bar for fucked up shit is set pretty goddamn high. Okay, so Tommy, in the simplest way I can put this, is about the deaf, dumb, and blind kid from the Husan pinball wizard and how he becomes the messiah of a bunch of disenfranchised people who inhabit the world. Yeah. Yeah, that's the sanest way to put it. Anyway, the long way of putting that is to say that Tommy is the movie based off of the Who rock opera album by the same name. And it's pretty fucked up. To like put it in musical terms, the first half of the movie is Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd. The middle part is Pinball Wizard by The Who. And then the last part is just the Bible, I guess, by Jesus. I'm Jewish, so I'm not really sure who wrote that part of the Bible. This is off to a horrible start. Anyway, the reason the movie is just so fucked up is because, like, every weird thing that could happen in a movie about a deaf, dumb, and blind kid happens, no matter how horrible. To put it in perspective, we got Tina Turner plays the Acid Queen, which is basically a prostitute who sticks poor deaf, dumb, and blind Tommy, who, mind you, isn't deaf, dumb, and blind by, like, birth. He saw something so traumatic in his life, which was his father's murder by his stepdad and his mom. And then that caused him to be all mute and blind. Yeah, but anyway, so Tina Turner takes Tommy and puts him into an Iron Maiden and shoots him up full of acid. And I'm not talking like one thing. I'm talking about like every part of that Iron Maiden closes in on him, and it's just made of needles that shoot him up with acid. And then that's just the beginning of Tommy's fucked up shit. What else happens to him? He gets molested by his uncle. He gets beaten by his sadist cousin, who's basically Joffrey. And, yeah. Then he faces Elton John on a stage, and everyone cheers him on as they play pinball. And Elton John's pinball machine is a piano. And by playing the piano, it's what makes him play pinball. So it's really weird. It's just really fucking weird. The music's great, and you find out Jack Nicholson is a surprisingly good singer when he plays the Doctor. It's like you never expect Jack Nicholson to sing well, but whatever. But it's just so fucking weird, and it's so avant-garde. The whole film, man, the film makes Brazil look like a documentary about a taffy factory. It makes Brazil look like the most normal thing in the world. And Brazil is another fucked up British movie about, I don't even know. I never fully understood it. It was like the future, but people were unhappy, and then his mom kept getting plastic surgery, but she got better, and the other person who got plastic surgery got ugly and fat and died. It was weird too, but Tommy makes it look like it's normal. Which is just funny, because Tommy's just so fucked up, and there's just these horrible scenes where Tommy just kind of lies there and takes it, like when he's getting shot up with acid, and when he's getting molested. Not really when he's getting beaten. He's tied down for that. There's nothing he can do when his cousin beats him senseless. But all the other times, you just want to yell like, Tommy, run! Run, Tommy! Tommy, why won't you just goddamn run? Tommy never runs. No, Tommy has a lot of bad shit happen to him. And then, then he, like, gets happy because he gets his senses back because his mom throws him out of a mirror. The more I talk about it, the less sane it sounds. But his mom throws him out of a mirror, and that gives Tommy his senses back. Because he doesn't die, and he falls in a pool, and then he just runs down the street for a while. And then he preaches the word of pinball to everybody. But then his stepdad, who, if you remember me earlier, when I said this, murdered his regular dad, who turned out didn't die in World War II. And I know this sounds convoluted, and like I'm just telling it wrong. No, this is the fucking movie. This is what happens in the film. It doesn't matter if I say it out of context or out of sequence, it's not going to help you any. Even if you watch the movie, it's not going to help you any because it's just so fucking bizarre. It's got amazing music. That's just like one good thing. Like the music's really good. It's all The Who. And even though Keith Moon's alive and playing a pedophile thing. Actually, I'm not sure. Because they never really say how old Tommy is. So, he may not be a pedophile, but he's definitely a rapist. He's definitely a rapist, because that scene's just fucked up, because they cut to black, and you just hear Keith Moon making sex noises. And not normal sex noises, like creepy, just disconcerting sex noises, while Tommy doesn't say anything because he can't, but you know he wants to because, rape. And then later, when Tommy becomes a messiah, he employs this guy who raped him like nothing bad ever happened. Which also doesn't make any goddamn sense. Because, he shouldn't. And also, he trusts his stepdad, and his stepdad's basically Judas. Except, worse, I guess? I don't know. I'm not sure if Judas ever used Jesus to make money. No. Yeah, that was Judas' thing. So yeah, he was worse. He's worse than Judas, or about par with Judas. Again, Jewish, so that part of the, everything after the Old Testament's pretty much lost to me. But I read, so I'm good enough with it to know how to understand illusions, like Tommy's stepdad is Judas, and Tommy's mom is Mary, and Tommy's Jesus. And then bad stuff happens to Tommy after he becomes Jesus, because the poor deaf, dumb, and blind kid, once he finds happiness, still can't be happy. Which makes sense when you employ your old rapist. I mean, nothing good's ever going to come from that situation. And it doesn't. Bad shit happens to Tommy. And then he climbs a mountain. And then the movie ends. And it was just weird, okay? It was just so fucking weird. And it's just, I mean, you watch the movie and it's like one of those movies you scream at the television. You scream at the TV hoping Tommy will hear you. At the very least, someone can explain to you what the fuck is going on. Why when the mom throws a champagne bottle at the TV, does foam come out? And then refried beans, and then chocolate, and then it's like she's on acid because none of it's really happening. But then stuff like that happens that isn't on acid because it really does happen because everyone else is aware of it. And so reality is really weird to understand this movie. But yeah, it's fucked up. I would tell you, people who have stumbled upon this podcast in the late of night, probably bored and or touching themselves, and now weirded out because I just called you out for touching yourselves because no one likes that when you're touching yourself. But I should advise you to watch this movie while on some form of drug. Get like super high and watch this movie is what I should say to you. But I know, just from watching this movie completely sober, that's not going to help you. That's just going to make everything worse. So watch the movie, enjoy the music, and I guess just yell at the TV. Take it for what it is. It's a fucked up movie by a really weird director with really weird people and way too much mentally disabled rape, which, is above zero, because anything above zero, anything more than no mentally disabled rape is too much mentally disabled rape, in my opinion. I'm sure there's like some mentally disabled rapist out there who's like, hey, that's not fair, but you know what, buddy? I'm not you, so I can't make that call. I don't have your experience to make that call. In my experience, it's too much. And it's creepy. And now I feel dirty. No, but yeah, watch the movie. Don't do drugs while watching the movie. Just watch it completely sober. Feel like you're on drugs, and that'll be enough for you. And then, when you're done watching Tommy, which came out in 1975. So there, I just gave you the date and the name. You'll be able to find it. Netflix has it on DVD. So, if you want to wait for the mail, do that. If you're an impatient person, you could probably find it on the internet somewhere. I'm not saying I did, but I did. Anyway. And then when you're done watching Tommy, again, not on drugs because it just won't help you. But when you're done watching Tommy, just, make an angry podcast about it. Not even angry, just make a weird podcast trying to vent, trying to help you understand what just happened. Because I don't. And when you make that podcast, comment it in my section. Just say, hey, Sam, a.k.a. White Wolf, because you're a weird dude and just can't say your actual name, which is just Sam. Here's my podcast, response to your podcast, response to Tommy. Yeah, don't even watch Tommy. Just respond to this. Just respond to this podcast. Make a podcast venting about this podcast. It's like podcast Inception. And then send that to me. And then I won't listen to it. And you can feel better about yourself because you did something for once in your shitty life as you sit here on the internet at night listening to my podcast. Yeah. Anyway, I'm probably going to start doing stuff like this every couple of weeks, if not every week, because, I'm only 12 minutes in, it was really easy, and it's just me talking. I guess if you guys like it, keep listening, and click like or share, or whatever, subscribe. That's something that I see on YouTube all the time in podcasts. I see the word subscribe pop up, so you should probably do that. Or I'll keep talking about how you touch yourself. Even if you subscribe, I'm going to do that anyway. It's funny. It's fun to talk about. Doing it right now? Just touching yourself? Okay, I'll let you get back to that. I'll let you find Tommy, and then, for the people who don't want to do podcast Inception, you can just watch the movie. For people who do that. Let's make that a thing. Let's make podcast Inception a thing, and let's do that right here and right now. Again, I'll be talking about movies like every week. Probably also starting getting into comic books and television, and maybe just other weird stuff that pisses me off. I might just talk about Glee, even though I haven't watched in a while. But I have so much hatred in me against Glee that I can just yell about that for a good 5 minutes straight. Nothing but yelling about Glee. So that might happen too. Who knows? This is my podcast. It's the Wolf Den podcast. I'm Sam, aka White Wolf, hence the Wolf Den. And I hope you like this. Share, subscribe, tweet, tumble, Instagram this. Take a picture of this, put a filter on it, and then throw it up on your Instagram. I'm never going to look at it, but maybe someone will and they'll think it's meta. Who knows? You're a hipster piece of shit and everyone hates you. Have a good night, everybody.